IVM.
My favorite link is storytel.com/IVM, which is a lovely place to go. Best books available. I'm not saying that because they're forcing me, but stop choking me. All right, I'll do it anyway. A book I've really enjoyed, you can get it on Storytel, is by Yuval Noah Harari, not the country, not the city in Zimbabwe, but he's a fantastic writer. It's called Sapiens. It traces the evolution basically of man. It changes a few myths that we thought were true, but are actually myths. Like, for example, men were taller than women. Not true. In my family, women are taller than men. All this is more revealed. How society progressed, how man became man, and how you hate man and prefer the animal, and why gorillas and man are not linked because they're nicer than us. All this is proven in Sapiens. Take a read. So keep in mind that if you go through storytel.com/IVM, you get a 30-day free trial as against a 14-day free trial on the link. All right, it's very simple. All you got to do is log on to storytel.com/IVM. Millions and millions and millions of stories, many written by me. All that and more. Find it all on Storytel. कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
Here on Cock and Bull, we have applications from different people across the world saying they want to appear on the show. We have disregarded people who don't put in enough work in terms of general knowledge. But we do have India's finest comedian in the Khar Bandra area, the one and only Deepak, also known as Chuck. He joins Raunak Kapoor and Amit in the foursome known as Cock and Bull. I'm the Bull.
Why follow your auntie's advice when you can follow Cyrus Says on Facebook and Twitter to stay updated about the latest shows?
Okay, I found something new. It's called Cock and Bull, actually. Cyrus Says changes, as you know. But I found something new that bikers do to irritate me. Now, bikers have decided to find a small hole in a divider where they can take one tire through and wait there with the tire coming through to your side of the road, so that now you have even less space to move your car because you're taking 1.5 feet with that one tire. So I tell you, we have to stop this. If you want me to vote for the current government or the opposition, I want it in writing that bikers will be caught and beaten once a week. And we'll all be allowed as citizens to do that. Bikers are lined up. You're, come on auntie, come on uncle, slap, 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 slap. Because that bloody arrogant tire has really got to me. It's called Cock and Bull. We'll be right back after this break.
How does one separate news from opinion? I'm Mahrukh Inayat, a news junkie, but not a big fan of debates. I love facts, and I like to stick to them. No frills, just pure analysis. This election season, is Balakot a game changer for 2019? Did Priyanka Gandhi Vadra join politics too late? The Chaukidar Wars. Who's really winning? I will cut the clutter and analyze the stories that matter to you.
You can listen to the show on the IVM Podcasts app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, Cock and Bull, what a lovely title, and I welcome to the studio. Pretend it's a huge one, guys. We'll put in effects.
Dude, we got like
it is.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people standing
and 3 people have no reason to be here. This is typical Mumbai story. We've got Deepak.
Hey, hi.
The house comedian now for us.
No, not a
house comedian.
He is
that's not a negative. Huh.
He is the host of the wonderful show Simblified, one of the oldest shows.
Simblified. Simplified. I told you to do the accent.
Yeah, you had two-thirds of the show you had on already, so I just thought that come on.
The last one-third who bunked it the last time.
Yeah, bunked it the last time.
I just mentioned, not a visual medium, but you're wearing what early Baywatch would have, Michael Hasselhoff would have had, David Hasselhoff.
They were Dream Theater fans?
Yeah, I think so. I love the pants. I'm talking about the shorts.
Oh, the shorts, okay.
Yeah.
I like how it...
I don't know, is it Shakti Kapoor in prison in one of those 80s
My t-shirts up here.
It's lovely. I never look at the t-shirt, Baba. And Raunak, good morning. You're back again, or you're going to be back again.
I didn't leave. He's in the future.
You're in the future.
My Uber's taking time.
No, your biopic is in the future. We'll do your Uber joke as well. Why are you giving Uber so much bow? Uber is run by Amit, who's here as well.
Yes, I am.
Do you know Amit got a citation from Uber? Top 10 clients of Uber in Mumbai.
First year.
Top 10.
Yeah, in the first year. After
first 9 were rickshawalas who couldn't themselves.
What's your thing against two-wheelers and three-wheelers?
I hate bikes. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. Okay, jokes apart. Now, I can't bear them.
Jokes apart.
I realized bikers. Are you bikers? Are you a biker?
No, I'm a cyclist, though.
The close enough.
No, this is the caste system. You are not even on my radar. When I come to power, I'll promise you something.
But my cycles were probably more expensive than most motorcycles.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What a show-off.
I'm like you, Cyrus. I'm elite and arrogant. I only believe in four-wheelers.
Listen, the two-wheeler, the culture of the two-wheeler is that the moment I'm on it, there is no law. They actually have accepted that there is no law, whether it's one-way, two-way, cut from here, cut from there. Go on the pavement. I'm walking with my daughter and they're on the pavement. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, jagah nahi hai. Fly, you motherfucker. Why are you on my pavement? I've got a young girl. What the fuck are you doing? There's a limit. There is a limit, and I draw the line on.
You've got a young girl.
Yeah. I had for a few years. Wife found out. Yeah. She's the old girl, by the way. Old, young, everything works. Deepak.
Listen, yes, hi.
Baba, I want to talk to you for a minute. Tell us about Simblified.
Simplified is a podcast.
Silly. Come on. Don't come here and blow your own trumpet here. Come on.
All right, I'll blow the trumpet.
Yeah.
Amit, blow your trumpet.
Simplified.
Thanks for blowing my trumpet for me. And this is
Raunak, don't talk about blowing our trumpets. Because you have said all the wrong things in the future. I don't know. It's going to be a huge edit job.
But yeah, Simplified's a great show. It's Chuck, Shriketh, and Naren. The three of them do it together. They talk about...
Why is he called Chuck? Can you hear us?
He's called... I don't actually know what. I've never asked him that question.
Deepak, why are you called Chuck? This is nice. Deepak is a normal name, by the way. You should be happy.
Yeah.
You know, one of those, 7 syllables, Swithambaru or something. just Deepak.
It's Deepak Gopal Krishnan.
Yeah.
And your short version of Deepak should be Puck, as far as I...
Close enough, actually. So it was a...
Puck, you here for the show. Okay. Puck off from here at what time?
It is a nickname since college. When I was
Chuck?
in...
Not Chuck as in Hijra, no?
No, not at all.
Then
actually.
CHUCK.
Yeah, so when I was in
questions.
college in Kerala, I used to make a lot of bad jokes. Clearly, I had the right influences growing up. I used to watch a lot of MTV.
What is Nikhil Chinnappa, I tell you.
So,
big in the south.
So in Malayalam, a poor joke is called Chali. So somebody put together Chali and Deepak.
Malayalam, what is Maire Patti? Okay, sorry, go on.
What is my repetition?
Maire is very bad.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. Did not expect that to come out of a Parsi mouth.
Too hard,
I must
too
say
hard.
that.
Listen,
so anyway,
that was the Malayalam channel.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
Boss was Malayalam, Bakra was Malayalam, 5 producers, 3 anchors. What are you saying?
But you still say Malayalam with an accent.
That's okay, yaar. Once you come to Mumbai, you lose your language. Yeah. That's the law of the world.
Simplified didn't. Anyway, so somebody put together Chali, which is Malayalam for mud, which is what poor jokes are called, and Deepak Souls. On Chuck. Yeah.
Mud.
Mud.
This is why the Malayali is always more intelligent than us. No, I can't even understand the point. It's gone above my head. But Chuck is the name.
Chuck is the nickname, actually. Deepak
right.
Gopal Krishnan, not the IT department.
Do women call you that? Like when you're in bed and stuff, what do people call you? Male, female, whatever. I mean, not judging. Have you ever been called Chuck?
Yes, I have.
I mean, I'm just thinking of the word that rhymes with Chuck and they're trying to put it all. Chuck, come on in! Chuck, come on! I'm just thinking.
I thought his inspiration was Muralidharan or...
That's a little cricket intelligentsia. Because the elbows, you won't... I can't... What if you ever have to interview him?
Who?
All these jokes about his arm. Mulli!
You think he listened to this? This is all Malli for him.
You never know.
And I'm Mallu for him.
Alright,
Sorry,
he's
this is
got
Chelli
Tamil
for him.
antecedents, he's got Malayalam antecedents, so we are being left out.
Okay, that's fine.
So challenge.
Apne chalu kariye.
Chalu kariye. Chalo.
Okay, all right. The first story to discuss is the Election Commission issues a notice to Pragya Thakur and the PM defends her in an interview. You, I'm sure, have all heard the story of what she said about him.
There were 3 options when my daughter was born. Do we go with the name Pragya, Maya, or Sushma? And I took Maya. I hope that tells you a story. I think in the future you will talk, Ronnie, about the Karkare remarks and all that. I think there's a little, I don't know if we'll keep it or not. But I found it highly insensitive as well.
It was insane.
To say that he will be punished, I warned him and all that. I mean, who talks like that?
I cursed him. I cursed him. Sorry, nonsensical idea of cursing somebody. On top of that,
who's been murdered in cold blood.
Say that with pride that I cursed him, he died.
No, so where are all the patriots now? Karkare was a patriot. He died for the country in a sense, wearing the uniform. And now where are they? You're almost mocking him.
Do you know the after effect of that? That you have all the... Now, because you're so obliged to defend the right wing, you have to do it no matter what. Now, if you back out, there's no, I defend the right wing, but I'll not stand for Pragya.
Or at least have the intelligence to release only certain right-wing people.
Guess what they've started doing now? Now they're saying, Karkare was a bootlicker, Karkare was drunk, Karkare was non. He just died because he was over. All this sort of nonsense. It's proper character assassination. And why? Because you're obliged to defend one idiot after the other.
But I mean, like the fact that they would put her up for elections, honestly, just in and of itself is kind of
and they pull that grab it out of the hat. Is that the right phrase? I'm sorry. Yeah. But
they're playing this whole...
it's a ball that went the other way. Yeah.
She's innocent. She's innocent until proven guilty. It's not some small tax evasion or a vadra. It's terrorism charges.
Why is the need to rant? I mean, where's the statesmanship? Okay, Donald Trump downwards. It's ridiculous.
I had this, I saw this tweet which said, Narendra Modi is our Prime Minister and you guys are all going crazy about Pragya getting a ticket.
How dare you? What do you mean by that? How dare you? At the moment, opinion polls are showing BJP in front. Well, not really. Don't know. Can't say.
You know who I feel
Deepak.
sorry for in this whole thing is the other stupid things that Pragya Thakur has actually said. So everybody's focusing on this one thing that she spoke about. Here are a selection of the other things
this
that
is
she's
from
actually
the past
said.
or in the now?
No, I mean pretty much now actually. Some of this came after the Hemant Karkare statement actually. Cow urine cured my breast cancer.
Yeah.
That
is one.
Go slower, Deepak, because it's going to take time to digest one by one.
There are too many
I
now.
have managed to get Cyrus to say slow down. So
No, I'm still digesting that one.
I have climbed over the structure, Babri Masjid, and helped in pulling it down, and she was very proud of that.
Yeah.
And my personal favorite of the lot, rubbing a cow in a certain way can help one control blood pressure. I think I should just read out
The cow's blood pressure, your blood pressure. Be clear.
So
it's interesting
you have to
ask that.
stroll it from the neck to the back and it cures BP.
There's only one way to find out. Kunal, can you lie on the table?
And apparently she says a Gaushala is the best place for tapasya. I'm not sure if she's ever passed by Jogeshwari.
Chuck, we have no friends. Don't overdo it. Okay, that's a slightly Mumbai joke. We'll have to explain it. Well, let's not.
But it smells.
You've never been to that part of Mumbai, so you can't explain it.
You can smell it from Malbai.
No, to me, this is like the BJP testing. How far can they go with this? To me, all
they can't control some of the people. They just come out and say what they want.
See, to me, I think all political parties are the same. They just care about being in power. They really don't care about nationalism or anything at the core of it. They just care about being in power and, getting their...
the voice heard. You're right.
Yeah. They figured out that nationalism is a good way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
They piloted
something novel, not tried before.
Yeah, season 1, episode 1 was... putting Yogi in charge of UP. They said, okay, let's take a slightly less crazy place and put a slightly more crazy person in charge. So slowly, I think it's going to become,
Now you're scaring me. They already had plans in place for beyond Yogi. Yogi is not correct enough, yaar. We need something more.
Yeah. Apparently, Modi is the liberal wing of
No. I like that thinking because now I feel like voting for Modi for sure. When you mention these other guys, it's really scary.
It's insane, right? I mean, I cannot believe that somebody who has the kind of history that she has is being put up for elections in a urban constituency, which is a large one. It's kind of crazy.
Urban constituency and no mature conversation of any kind.
If our last election taught us anything is we don't really care about history so much. We're willing to ignore it if it promises more. Now, what is it that we're looking for? Suddenly, we're all just so infatuated by saffron.
I'll interrupt you for a second and say how many Babas are going to vote for Pragya is the question that I want to push out there.
How many Babas live in Bhopal?
2. One is 16. But what about his mother?
I don't know the answer to that, though.
Oh, it's a good question.
How's her health? She can stroke a cow.
She's leaving. They've just packed. They have a donkey and a dog. Apparently not big in the scale.
Yeah, I'm just stumped by this, right? I mean, to me, this whole thing is just...
I worry about the world. When these things happen, the world is looking at us.
Maybe they've gotten so carried away with their agenda that they've not realized that someone can actually self-destruct for them. And Pragya, since she's come in, even the BJP...
You think it'll backfire?
I think they've already said that these are her personal statements. They've tried to isolate it. They made her take the statements back, which is not something they never do. However bad it is.
But the Prime Minister did defend her.
No, not really.
In a vain way.
So the Prime Minister didn't condemn her, but he certainly... This is as hard as they'll go to telling somebody what you said was inappropriate, which for the BJP is a huge thing.
Don't say it beyond the shaka.
So you know what happened when Srinivasan Jain went to interview her? She said she's a Maunvrat. She's not speaking.
Oh wow! For how long?
That's a bad dog. She said she has a Maunvrat, but anyway, the point was she didn't. They've obviously given her a gag order. They said please don't open your mouth now for a little while.
But he had a beard. Maybe that's the reason. All right, Chuck, what's up? We've done with Pragya. We'll all vote for her. Clear?
Yeah, absolutely.
My
looks
vote.
like Pragya, no? Yeah. My Tang.
Well, the urine is orange. Orange?
Tang used to be a liberal drink.
Tang is now their drink. Yeah, no longer. You're right.
All right. The next question, next topic we have.
Ruafza's dead.
One by one they're going.
General Bakshi, the image on Vistara and social media, basically got slammed on both sides.
He's also the number one panelist on a certain REP TV, as far as I know.
On a channel, yes.
Yeah, I can't take names.
Namo TV is baby sister channel.
Yeah, well, the more violent version of Namo TV. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, again, the story is that he was on a Vistara flight. They took a picture of him. They tweeted it.
Yeah.
After they tweeted it, they got a lot of left-wing people tweeting back at them.
But he was on the right wing of the plane.
But they got a left-wing flag at that point in time, so they pulled the tweet down saying that we want...
So now they got the other flag.
And then they got other flag when now...
What a country we live in, really. Yeah.
But, so, I mean, like, it is, in some ways, right, you know, I mean, like, it is a demonstration that if you are a brand, you have to play this, you have to be
also,
very careful about how you...
The question that you have to ask here is, why is a military general, albeit retired, not flying his own plane? I mean, come on.
Flying his own plane?
Army general.
They don't get a plane when they retire.
They should be given a plane.
Why should they give him a plane?
5-star general should get his own plane.
You've seen the kind of people that retire from the army and what they're becoming.
I know that. I want to change that.
If he's whiling away in the skies on his own.
I want to go beyond Europe. I'm saying they should get a plane. 5-star general. No. Whether it's a jet plane or one of the other planes, I don't know, but he should get his own plane. I see my panels are perplexed. You're looking at me saying Parsi Pragya.
Naresh Goyal has a few spare
ones. Stop, don't attack that man. I've got all those miles. What do I do with those miles?
The miles are safe. The miles are safe.
What do you mean they're safe?
There's no aircraft, but the miles are safe.
Because JP Miles is owned by Etihad, so you can use them on anything else. Your miles are safe.
My miles are safe, so I can still travel with those miles.
You can still travel, but not on jet.
You can travel to Saudi Arabia.
I can travel on jet. I'm just not going anywhere.
No, but you can use them internationally. They're part of an alliance, so there are a bunch of different airlines.
We're giving away such valuable information.
Look at the three of you. It's like you work for the aviation industry.
So
Prabhu himself will be proud.
We have miles.
We all found out. We all found out.
As Pragya told me, we have miles to go before the cow can rest.
So in this whole thing, you know who I think the actual winner is?
Yeah.
Vistara themselves, actually. They basically lose all the nut jobs, right?
Yeah.
You have the nut jobs on both sides. They're basically saying we are boycotting. Great. I say Vistara, take this ahead. Actually do stuff that actually offends more and more of your people.
Yeah.
So you get basically only people who won't throw fuss. Because you know all the guys who are coming onto these flights who create problems. Like that uncle who gets drunk and tries to catcall an air hostess. These idiots who stand up.
Amit was under a lot of pressure. Don't bring that up. Yeah.
So these idiots who stand up just before, even before the flight has actually stopped.
I heard if the government wins, the central government comes back to power, we'll have to do the national anthem in the plane as well.
Amazing.
So first
even during turbulence.
Yeah, during turbulence, everything. There'll be four
especially
announcements.
during turbulence.
Yeah. What about landing? That's when we really should be singing.
You think Vistara's the winner in this? It just goes to show there's no humor left in social discourse, political discourse.
Also overreacting, no?
Bakshi's a polarizing figure, right? He says provocative things, he's vile at times, and that makes the left wing, like Amit says.
I think he wasn't. I think he started believing his own myth on
there
TV
two
and
things. One, he's actually going out saying that he was a Kargil war veteran.
Yeah.
Whereas there is army documentation that disputes that.
Right.
That he wasn't deployed in Kargil. And
how can he say that then?
So, it's Republic. Cyrus.
Right.
Anyway,
But how can he say that at a cocktail party?
Yeah, fact.
At a cocktail party is to tell the truth.
Cocktail party, you and me say so much.
Cocktail party, no.
So
I just want to know.
At
Then
the
yes,
cocktail party,
okay.
At the cocktail party, you said you met 4 intelligent people.
See, on the fictitious channel is different.
Right. No, so Vistara put out the tweet saying, who served in Kargil, Major General Bakshi retired, who served in Kargil. Thank you for your service. So they started getting some flack saying he never served in Kargil. So it also started looking like a factually incorrect tweet, as well as something that the
this was like with the internet. Nobody's clear, but nobody's clear.
No one's clear.
Nobody knows for sure whether he was or wasn't.
And the left wing sort of just put out a joke saying, okay, thanks for letting us know that Bakshi flies your airline, we'll go to Indigo, and they tagged Indigo.
Yeah.
So it ideally just should have been a fun thing, right? Okay, fine. I don't like somebody.
But if Bakshi goes on Indigo, then where do we go?
It's like saying if I don't like an actor and he's on that flight, oh my god, I can't stand this guy, I'm going to go on the other one. That's all that it should have been. But because we're so
Are you calling Bakshi an actor because of his performances?
I think he's a fantastic actor.
He's fabulous. He's my favorite.
I think most regular panelists on television are actors.
And they're good. They're good.
So
they've created their own.
I mean, it's such a shame, that we can't take a joke now, and they're so polarized.
No, also because why do we react to the internet? Even if somebody writes in for or against, why do these airlines have to react all the time?
And why do they need to delete the tweet? Now they've got the other way around.
No, it's not sacrilege, It's honestly, it's not that bad. I don't understand why they've reacted.
It's the outrage culture, right? I mean, it's about how you can outrage around everything.
How dare you? How dare you is India's new name. Our country is called How Dare You.
But I tell you, it's a good warning because if Bakshi flies Vistara, then. Would you want to be sitting next to him?
I get very bored. Yes, I get very bored on planes. I like to have interesting people, even
so
good or bad.
So you go sit next to him and you tell him, sir, I think you should have your own plane.
If Kim Jong-un was next to me, I'd chat with him. I'd be like, Kim, what's up? You like cowboy films? What's your favorite Clint Eastwood film? Of course, you won't understand English.
Again, the thing with someone like Bakshi also, right? I mean, like, he says shit on television, right? But I mean, like, the thing is, people say shit on television.
And
right?
change.
I mean, that's just how you...
It's like the podcast. like Chuck is very sweet and tender off the podcast, but here
like
you're
a tender coconut.
Aggressive. I like you. Rub. Just change the mood, Baba. Too much aggression. Everybody kiss. Come on.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
TikTok is now removed from the Google and Apple app stores.
Let's talk to the man who knows everything about Google.
Yes.
What does that mean?
I have no idea what
all I know
said.
is Madras High Court put a stay order against them. That's all I remember.
So Madras High Court put a stay order against them. They appealed to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said that you need to do a hearing, so the ban was affected. TikTok has now been pulled off from the app stores. New installations cannot happen.
No, where?
Huh?
So only in Chennai, or you're talking about all India?
All over India. You cannot install TikTok right now.
The power of China waning? I don't think so.
So here's the thing, right? The people bring up China, right? But the argument is not being made that this is a Chinese company which is doing that. That's not the argument being made. The argument being made is child pornography. The argument being made is offensive content.
News and stuff.
That is the. But then, I mean, like, my question is, why is this something that matters for TikTok? Why is the same thing not true for Twitter? Why is the same thing not true for Facebook?
Correct.
Why is the same thing not true for YouTube?
Yeah.
And I have an answer for that as well. The reason for that is because TikTok is not used by people like us. TikTok is used by much lower,
less economically
advantaged people.
Ronak's BMW 7 Series.
Yeah, exactly. I have a problem with the bikers. No, changing on my space on the road.
Chuck just sold Thiruvananthapuram. If I pronounce it
say it again. No, say it again. Say it again. You
I just came back from there. I used to say Trivandrum. Nobody gave me trouble.
Yeah, we came up with names like Trivandrum for people.
No, for the non-Malayali, just to piss you off, we put 2 more syllables in an already 4-syllable name. Amazing. I think that's why Vistara did refuse to fly there.
Thiruvananthapuram.
How dare you? I like Alleppey. Alleppey is right.
Alapura, actually.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
They all into this.
Yeah, they all have.
Kochi is Kochi.
Yeah, actually, yes, it is.
Kochi classes, Max. What? I used to go for that. Maths Kochi classes.
Ernakulam.
It was the back of a bus. It was rubbed out. It was COACHI Kochi classes. They used to call it that. Yeah, sorry.
This is the stuff.
Ernakulam, I can say.
This is the type of stuff that actually would go viral on TikTok.
But one second. In the abuse on Cyrus Broacha, we forgot Amit's little elitist point, which is TikTok is not for people like us, for less educated and less
I don't think he said this is for people like us.
No, I said anti-elitist, actually. My point was exactly that. The reason why that something like this gets banned is because the people who are users of this are basically, they're completely powerless in this country, right? And
they don't have a voice.
They have WhatsApp.
This enfranchises everybody in India now, no? Except the cows. Okay, we have to take a break. And then we'll come back. Lots more to talk about. Yes, because these two guys just go on and on, man. Bro.
Which ones?
You say jogging, and I'm telling you a story about a man who dated 3 sisters. You say boss, Kurla, and it's about a guy who went out to a party where they were selling beef. This is Anand Sivkumaran, aka The Croc. My show, The Croc's Tales. You give me a word, I'll tell you a story. Words aapke, kahani aapke liye. Do tune in on Monday and Thursday on the IVM website, app, and anywhere you get your podcast from.
The clock is tick-tock, and the subject was aborted in the middle.
Yes.
Any point you want to make?
Well, I think I made my point, right? That is the
tick-tock, shut clock?
Well, I mean, like, unless you guys have something to say about it.
Tiruvananthapuram. Every time I say something wrong, I'm going to say the name.
Yeah, well, give me a brief fact check on this.
So what happened was that there was a case filed in the Madras High Court where they were saying that what is happening on TikTok is promoting child pornography.
And they stalled usage.
So they basically put out an order saying the government should consider banning this. Went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court said they'll have a hearing. Once they decided to have a hearing, at that point in time,
but it was propagating child pornography.
No, but not like that. Not obviously.
I mean, technically
there might have been child pornography that existed on TikTok. That is not
as
that is possible.
On many.
But then there is a crackdown on internet child pornography sites.
But
so
that's
you don't shut down the site so much. It's an internal thing.
See, this becomes a bigger thing now.
It's an internal thing normally.
YouTube had a massive child porn problem. YouTube had a massive child porn problem just a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Nobody spoke about shutting down YouTube, right?
Yeah.
The issue over here is simply that TikTok is being used by people who are.
So it doesn't really affect the very big pockets.
People don't get it. Like these guys just don't get it. it.
No, exactly. So I mean, like you start saying,
No, but your point about
is
it like a anti-China sort of thing, undercurrent?
But I mean, like, where is then somebody needs to say that, right? And if that is the
Hence,
case,
the government is quick to act. That's what is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I think if it's an anti-China thing, one is courts do not make decisions about national security.
Yeah.
National security decisions are made by our defense ministry.
So we are told to believe.
Well, I mean, that's how it should be, right? And the court has no jurisdiction over what is the national security interest, right? In that sense, they shouldn't.
Our satire is now becoming layered.
Yeah, I know.
Just remember, if you're listening, try and figure out what we're trying to say. The fear factor is growing amongst us.
I think it comes down to whether courts should start getting into silencing outlets. A larger amount of self-regulation would help. You know, there was this court that silenced Google and the entire print and electronic media from commenting anything about that Tejasvi chap from Bangalore who's now been given a ticket.
Wow.
Who's a complete dud.
Yeah.
So he got like a silent order on himself.
No, he basically said that The Wire and some of these, left-wing publications are putting defamatory stuff, and I'm going to enter a campaign. So that he got a buddy of his who happens to be the magistrate somewhere in Karnataka
to solve.
And there's this magistrate sitting at some remote part of Karnataka saying that Google, you're silenced. And YouTube, you're quiet. And Twitter, you're not allowed to put anything out.
You cannot mention Tejasvi, which upset poor Mr. Yadav, who's trying to get his plea heard in Supreme Court for his father.
Not that one. So I'm just saying somewhere, maybe we need something really robust, a First Amendment equivalent. Keep our media outlets secure. Yes, if they infringe on legals, you can take care of that. But let them be...
But this is child pornography is a great way to go. It's a terrible thing to say. No, what I mean is the moment you say child pornography, nobody's going to argue with you.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to argue with you. The court is going to take action and, the matter sort of, goes in favor of the
It's the kind of argument which shuts any counter-argument down, right? Because who's in favor of child pornography?
It is also a matter of
who's going to say.
It's also a matter of how much people understand the medium, right? You say that when the shootings happened in New Zealand a couple of weeks back, everyone understood that, okay, you don't need to take down Facebook. You need to somehow find a way to filter out the bad content from there.
But you can see how bad this is getting, because the first thing Sri Lanka did after the blast is shut down social media.
Yeah.
So
but it's also because the panic is spreading. So I think I don't want to, what do you think? When there's a real tragedy going on, and it's still going on, they weren't sure at that time, number 3, 4, when they shut it down, they weren't sure the blasts were over.
Right. No, so I think these are complicated issues which are dependent on situations, right?
No, because rumors spread, man. Amit, people go mad. Get out of this.
So I would say, if I were to make a distinction here, right, I would make the distinction between something like Sri Lanka shutting it down post an event versus somebody shutting it down in anticipation of the event. I don't think you should shut down in anticipation.
Or more like a rumor, if there are 2 or 3 cases where this child pornography thing is sort of, the proportion has to be seen also. Yeah. Because all these search engines and all these internet providers.
We see a lot of shutting down of WhatsApp and stuff like that, where there is even the possibility of something
But
happening.
Have you seen the jokes on WhatsApp? You should shut them down.
That's
Kunal every morning sends me a joke.
Them on our show.
Kunal sends me jokes in Marathi every morning in English.
Chuck has a phenomenal segment on his Simblified where they talk about morning WhatsApp, good morning WhatsApp jokes.
We roast forward.
This is like bikes, man. This is my next thing. No. The bikes irritate me next to the WhatsApp jokes. The
bikes as in the ones with motors in them?
The motorbikes. Not your Simblified bike. Your Simblified bike is fine.
I don't care about those. But the less of those the better.
What about the guy? What is he thinking? Especially when you wake up in the morning, there's a 4:30 a.m. message from Ranveer. Yeah. What the why? He's not. No. Then at least I understand because he works at that time. But 4:30 in the morning. I mean, for God's sake, you're sending me something. Are you Jerry Seinfeld? Who are you?
But they're just saying have a good day. And clearly it's not worked.
No, it's Vikash. You like this, and then it's 2 men in a bar. No.
So then why do we greet each other good morning and all that? It's just their own way of doing it.
I never say good morning. In my culture, I just pluck my nipple for a second. And for me, that's like,
fair enough.
I've accepted.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay. I was very confused. Thanks.
No, for you, I went a little lower.
Okay.
Stomach. Yes. Nice. Navel.
No, keep it there.
We'll stop there.
Keep it there.
I can't go any lower. Okay. Doctor says no.
You can't go any lower.
I can't without medication. Yeah.
I think we should quickly move on.
We're
becoming a TikTok sketch.
No, exactly. I can see Chennai banning us right now.
Thank God.
Jet Li backs Ranjan Gogoi amongst
Jet Li is the martial arts expert. Jet Li is the Punjabi name. Where are you going with this? Because I'm a big Jet Li fan.
Arun Jet Li.
Okay.
He backs the Chief
we're
Justice
Googling Jet Li's first name. The actor.
I think it is J-E-T-L-I. It's just
Do you know how cleverly Rahul Gandhi referred to him? J-A-I-T-L-I-E. Like J-T-L-I. Very clever.
And I'm still laughing.
But the Chief Justice of India has some sexual harassment allegations against him, and Jaitley is defending him, as did the Bar Council of India, as did pretty much everybody.
What has happened to our country, ultimately in Mr. Gogoi or Justice Gogoi, whatever you address the correct term.
Chief Justice.
I'm like, what's happening? Where do we start? Forget Bakshi.
One second.
Bakshi is the least of the crimes now. Yeah.
No, these are the people who put in the posh standards, right? And now they decided that, hey, you know what? It's all good.
Who dropped
we just
the ball?
think that it's all okay and it's fine and there's nothing happened.
And it's not yet proven. Supposing the Chief Justice of a country like ours is guilty of these kind of things,
right.
Who dropped the ball? There's a vigilance committee which is appointed when the PM or whoever gets together to, formulate and decide on benches involved. A lot of committees involved in this kind of thing. So the ball has been dropped by them. You got to go through, like when you were made Jamnabai head boy for life.
I thought you'll go to my legal background. But it's nice that you're catering the Chief Justice of India's sexual harassment allegations
even in schools,
to the head boy of a school in Juhuski.
No, but even in schools,
the connections are
once you had rigged your election and won, fair enough, your teachers sat across the table.
You're confusing me with somebody else.
Mr. Raunak Kapoor, they looked at everything about you and said, okay, there's no discrepancy in his character, he's not a bad guy, blah, 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 and they passed. We do it everywhere. We actually do it everywhere.
Yeah, but it's not about that.
But at the top of the apex,
Supreme Court, High Court.
The apex structure, the apex point, the zenith, is the Supreme Court Chief Justice.
At this point, when it's all about how are victims or complaints of sexual harassment going to be treated, this is an abhorrent precedent to set.
It is ridiculous.
Even if it is frivolous as the Chief Justice claims, and maybe in time it'll be proven, an honest man would allow the court.
Law is equal for all.
What he's done is he's sat on the bench, which is hearing the matter, and spoken openly and said how this is ridiculous and it's the entire judiciary is in trouble. No, Chief Justice, with due respect, you are in trouble.
Yeah. You should recluse yourself, is what you're saying. First and foremost.
He shouldn't be making that. He has no business being in that hearing.
He should not be making any statements, firstly, from his official office. He cannot be sitting on the Chief Justice's bench and commenting on a case which a complaint has been circulated on. What he needs to have done is constituted a bench who would then investigate it. It's as simple.
A so-called neutral bench if there's
no, that's fine. The courts don't investigate. The courts would have directed an investigative agency to see if there's any merit.
Who is independent of the courts in every way, shape, and form.
It's not a perfect world.
What's the point then? At the end of the day, everything is linked to everything. I'm saying the investigation can be a big sham.
But there's a difference between the harasser having a position of power in this situation.
Seem to look like a proper person.
As opposed to this, right? Again, these guys have set up the Vishaka case, which led to the POSH guidelines, have been set up by this court, right? And the way that
now can I use the word irony? Mr. Bapat, are you listening? Irony.
That's an episode in the future.
As per the Vishaka guidelines.
In the future.
Here's the funny part. As per the Vishaka guidelines, you have to put this to an internal complaints committee. And there are senior lawyers, Supreme Court, thinking, does the Supreme Court have an internal complaints committee?
They will now.
Yeah. But when you speak of irony, the biggest irony over here is the BJP actually saying something like institutional disruptors against judges who are unwilling to agree with them.
First, BJP in English? Wow. Second, what the hell
it was Jaitley.
It was the one guy.
It was Jaitley. Yeah.
He just started to confuse Rahul.
Gogoi's handling of this is making his predecessor Deepak Mishra, who went through so much criticism, look like the greatest Chief Justice that ever was.
The crime was a little smaller. But again, the thing is, there's a school of thought that thinks that in India, influential men or powerful men have all got sexual discrepancies, sort of,
They just enjoyed power.
They've enjoyed power. They've abused power.
Power.
It's almost like a cross story. Do you think that's possible?
It is true. There's a great degree of truth to that.
So all are big shots, whether they're
all. All is a generalization.
A strong figure. How can we know for sure?
I'm just saying, true or not, how it doesn't help your matters when someone in a position of power like Gogoi is literally throwing his weight around from an official bench of the highest court in the land.
What should the government do in this situation, Mr.
I don't think
Raunak
they can do
Kapoor?
anything because again,
but what should they do?
They have to stay
I know we're all independent,
judiciary.
checks and balances, all that's fine.
Yeah.
But okay, let me ask Chuck is a political mind.
I am. Okay,
but just
I don't think they should. I don't think they should interfere at all over here, and they shouldn't. And if anything else, they shouldn't be making statements like this because now they're saying stuff like.
So what happens to that person who's filed the complaint or whatever? What happens?
When there is a criminal investigation,
this is 1 year JLC. 1 year JLC.
5 years JLC.
5 years for 4 years.
When there are
an extra year.
When there are criminal charges against a judge, normally it's the Chief Justice that constitutes an investigation. He basically initiates when he directs the CBI. Directs the CBI. Now that it is the Chief Justice, ideally a Supreme Court bench needs to instruct the CBI.
Who designs that bench?
The second most senior most judge of the Supreme Court after him, which is Bobde.
This guy has to
a guy called Justice Bobde from Bombay.
Stop it.
His name is Justice Bobde.
I know that. But listen,
S.A. Bobde.
Show respect. Please show respect.
Thiruvananthapuram.
We are both from legal backgrounds. We have no excuse.
Yes.
Thiruvananthapuram.
Anyway, so they need to ideally constitute this bench, instruct the CBI to conduct an inquiry, and the findings of that need to be tabled to the court as well as Parliament. If he's found guilty, Parliament needs to have a joint parliamentary committee and impeach him.
But true.
But that's the ideal procedure. Now, how much are you going to act on?
I would say it's not the idea. There should be even more distinct and a further procedure.
There's nothing else you can
to
do.
The Supreme Court.
Until
how do you investigate a house within the house?
No, but until such time, you can tell the Chief Justice to stay away from the court. You can tell him to be on leave.
And who will do that?
The rest of the court. The collegium can tell him that.
Raunak Kapoor, my naive,
but it's not
lamb,
going to happen.
My masoom Jugal Hansraj.
Of course, it's not going to happen.
We're talking about ideal worlds, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
but that's procedure.
Yeah.
Never in the history of India's judiciary has the Chief Justice been accused of sexual harassment. He's been accused of many other things, but not sexual harassment.
Don't want to say raise the bar because there's too many puns.
You bet.
Then again I'll get a letter.
Bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, how sad. Right?
It is.
Ronak's cynical view is good enough for me. Let's move on.
All right.
All right. Those who don't have green cards, stay with us.
And plus, he's read the textbook.
So
He passed. He's a lawyer.
Also, the lesson is
typical lawyer working at Cricinfo.
So whatever happens, don't be harassed by the Chief Justice. Anything short of that is good. Yeah.
Okay,
hit
so the next story that we got is basically about Cyrus and your future. You're going to be the Prime Minister of India, apparently.
Yeah. The Ukrainian comic. I'm sitcom guy more. The TV show made him famous.
Okay.
So let's get it right. So he's like Kapil Sharma actually. Who's got like a show on TV which is doing well.
But it was a political show, right? He used to do political humor.
Okay, so mommy.
Yes.
Yeah. Because Kapil Sharma doesn't know who's in charge of the government.
Yes.
Yeah. He sent a note to Narendra Modi over his flat repairs 2 years ago. It didn't work
So
out.
if Kunal Kamra had a...
Kunal Kamra is a good one.
There you go. That would be interesting.
Kunal Kamra for PM?
I'd vote for
No,
PM.
I want him to be president. Then he'll know what no power is. Let him go through that first. Bloody comedians, I tell you. But this is the ball. Italy had, I think, a comedian as well who was elected to office.
The United States has
United States has a very
Al
practicing
Franken
comedian.
was there, but now he's no longer there.
Who? Where?
Al Franken was the senator. Who
Right,
was no
he
longer
was a senator, so
senator.
your joke is no longer funny.
Indonesia's president is a is a rock guitarist. And
There you go.
Beto O'Rourke also.
So it's changing. And all of us are not surprised because all these professions sound much better than those who are actual politicians.
So professional politics, I mean, like that I think is the key thing to look at over here, right?
People are disillusioned.
No, but I mean, like, what is the value of a professional politician compared to somebody who is intelligent and curious?
Well, I don't know. I just think people are cynical now and they say, okay, I'll take a chance with the painter. Yeah. Again, I don't mean Kunal Kamra because we're jealous of his ratings or anything, but I'm just saying generally.
You can say
George Bush was a painter.
He became a painter
became
post.
after.
And people said, why weren't you painting before? You never get into politics. Anyway. But I think, I like it. I think Ukraine is in a terrible position with that Russia breathing down their head and all that.
They could use some comedy.
They could. And what can they do? Because Big Brother has all the weapons and everything,
If nothing else, this is a brilliant career move for this guy because he'll have lots of material after he's done.
No, but once they just understand.
What a way to look at it. Wonderful.
Every time Russia attacks Ukraine, the whole world is incensed and says, how dare you, and does nothing. Because we're all scared of Russia. So it's a bit like that. So I think, like you said, all they got is jokes now. So you got to fight back.
This might actually make Putin laugh, though.
Is this us also?
What?
Coming soon? I just thought of this.
What?
China breathing down our neck and, just
So
similar.
you think a comedian will be Prime Minister of India someday?
Where's Mr. Goswami? Get his number. Now. General Bakshi, Vice?
Srivat Goswami.
Srivats Goswami. Still playing? Srivats still playing?
Yeah.
He's on 11. He's on 11.
He's the third keeper.
Maybe fourth.
Yeah.
Because Warner can also keep.
Correct.
All right. We'll get back to cricket in a minute. In the meantime, the last words on the subject. Comedian. You're a comedian. What do you think?
I just said it. I think it's great. I think it's great for his career.
Do you think an Indian could be the Prime Minister?
Sorry?
A funnier guy as Prime Minister?
And sorry. An
Indian? Now my English has gone with my Malayalam, isn't it? No, but Raga is pretty funny anyway. Isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean,
or whoever's handling his social media is.
Yeah,
he's got a sense of humor. He used to be the joke himself. He's actually now developed.
And I like the self-deprecating Pappu jokes
nice.
now, which all help.
Yeah.
The hug was huge. The hug was funny, arrogant, aggressive.
That wink was a bit annoying.
The hug was huge.
The hug was very good.
The wink was, now you're the Parsi side also. Left alone. I'll take it a little further.
I was in a hospital when that hug happened.
You went to hospital because of the hug?
No. I was in a hospital when the hug happened.
And you were cured?
Yeah, I was.
Nurse, I'm having a baby. And you don't blame it on any of the legal system.
How is it you don't even feel like asking him what happened? Why were you in hospital? Is everything okay?
Human kindness,
he could have had
empathy,
he could have
love.
been undergoing
Check the words.
If you think he's looking at the future, he's like, okay, I don't care about what.
As long as you become Prime Minister, doesn't matter.
Now he's thinking, if I can get Raga to hug everybody, then I can cure a lot of diseases. He's looking at the future.
Kunal Kamra,
he's not a sick man. He's curing
who's
sickness,
winking
actually.
at Damo. Maybe we've got something good. So what happened now that he mentioned it? Tell us. We'll play the relevant sad
lost
music.
his hair. He went to chemotherapy, and at that point,
wow.
Cough and cold.
No, I scraped my knee in a scuba diving accident.
Wow. Against the
infection.
Great White.
No, not
South African.
A great red rusted
Bench.
Boat.
Boat.
Yes,
Boat.
Right.
It's a tough word.
Below the sea.
Below the sea. Scuba
submarine.
diving usually happens below the sea.
But the boat was below the sea.
Yeah, the boat
So they
sunk.
were dead.
It sunk
The
a long
sailors
time
were
ago.
dead.
No.
What was?
They were with him in the
Let me hear the
hospital.
story. Let me hear the story.
They were there
To
in the
be
hospital
clear,
with
Captain Haddock and him below the sea.
There were 2 boats. One which we dived off. One we were exploring.
Yeah.
That- yeah.
So
And
which boat banged into your knee?
The
Both boats. Both boats.
The latter.
But on the surface of the water.
Okay. I was on boat
it
one.
was a
Ladies and gentlemen, we now recreate the crime. Go ahead.
Scrape my knee against a rusty ship and
A ship is 10 million feet and your knee is 1 foot, 1 inch. I mean, how does that... It doesn't make sense.
And he called out.
He lies.
He called out for help, but a fishing trawler Kuber passed by and they didn't respond.
I had a cold. I went to hospital for a cold.
Such
You're
a sensitive soul.
I was admitted for a cold. Yes, that's much
Well
simpler.
done.
Much
So you
simpler.
were admitted
Much
for a
simpler.
cold.
I'm sorry I appealed to your humanity.
And now your knee is better.
If my knee,
all right.
all of me is much better. I feel this has been therapy. Thank you.
All right. Let's end with.
Oh, no, let's end with Raunak. I'm going to tell you, if we have a legal case slapped against us, you are going to take that case on as our lawyer because you'll also be the plaintiff, defendant, and everything else. Yeah.
I've left.
Did you hear what he said?
No,
Let's not repeat
it's
it.
in the
Go
future,
on.
so I'll find
In
out.
the future, yeah, when you're done.
So I think we should end with Donald Trump and Mueller report and. So,
You mean he could go? I don't think so.
No,
he's not going.
no, he won't. He won't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's all rubbish.
It's
It's a bit like what's happening at back home also. Now, in all this, there's accusations and finger pointing and nothing really happens.
Yep.
Big shots don't lose their position.
Nope.
Doesn't happen.
No,
Never.
And it's too late for anything to happen anyway.
It makes no sense also for anything to happen, right? I mean, yeah, you're right. From a timing perspective, any kind of hearing is going to take a year and a half.
Yeah.
By which time is
And-
already in the next election.
Yeah, and I mean, just the report itself, so from the Democratic perspective, the report itself is enough to kind of crash
Yeah.
him.
What is likely to happen though is once he stops being president eventually,
He'll fly Vistara.
Yeah.
Somebody will tweet.
I was going to say he could be tried as a private citizen in New York, but I like your.
You think so?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
That's
Well,
like
that's likely
he won't
to
be
happen.
yeah.
Listen, I mean, like the one thing that is going to happen over here is that
Democrats win, they go after
no,
him.
he's going to get screwed because of he's a shady guy, right? In terms of business dealings and stuff like that. They're going to go after all his financial records, and he is not going to have the protection that he thinks he has around that. And
Will he live with Stormy Daniels happily ever after? I hope that's
The
the
thing
end.
is, most
A happy
presidents-
ending, eh?
So most presidents going back to Nixon and whatnot, in spite of their indiscretions, they've been sympathized with after
Post.
they've been done. Yeah. So
Because-
whether it's Republican or Democrat, but this guy is earning no goodwill from even the Republicans who wouldn't mind another Republican, but they just can't take this one.
He's not a Republican. He's a third part, 15th party on his own.
He was a Republican candidate.
No, but he's a
he wasn't a
Republican. Come on,
mainstream
no, there's no
politician.
Republican or Democrat
but
left in him. He's
but
Republican.
that's a good point you make because he has no party allegiance. So I don't think the party will owe him anything.
the party looks at him as a necessary evil, right? I mean, like for the
Like
most part.
nationalism for the
Because they think they're in power, but they're not. Because he's in power. It's got nothing to do with them. That's the way it is.
So anyways,
as you know.
They want his coalition, right? They want his coalition of right-wing nut jobs.
You
and
think he'd
white
win in India
supremacists and all
if he
that.
stood?
I think he'll win.
Yeah,
if
he
he's
would.
done.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
head to
Did you
head.
see this, man? I don't know. Sorry, just a completely different thing. There were a bunch of tweets out of India talking about how awesome Adolf Hitler was on Adolf Hitler's birthday.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding.
This is
you.
what the internet has to be banned. China's right.
Yeah.
Forget TikTok, clip clop it all. Shut
like,
it down.
I don't
saw-
think the internet should be banned. I think keyboards should be given selectively.
Also, Google translation from German to English may have gone wrong.
That's very good.
Somebody let us go out. Because one second, Tiruvananthapuram. I'm just going to give me some time. I don't know how to do this. Yeah. All right, guys, you have to wind this up. You're talking to us. Ron.
Yeah,
Let's
no, I
go.
think we have a quick
We
AMA
have
after
an
this.
AMA
so
session coming up, but I want to thank you for your leftist views, sir, Mr.
Welcome.
Chuck,
That's
and for
because
your
I'm sitting on the left
ridiculously
side of the
aggressive views against every demographic I know on earth, and I want to alienate myself from Raunak Kapoor.
If I've gone after
Let's just-
everyone, then
yeah.
no one can be offended.
Jamna bhai, be proud.
That's
that you
one way
speak
of
your
looking
mind.
at
Yeah, I've been equal to everyone.
Yes, your secularism is
Equal
warranted.
opportunity offender.
There you go. And that's the only way to survive this country at the moment.
Like Justice Gogoi.
Right. Or Vistara. We'll be back after this.
with
Nothing.
the AMA.
AMA.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. This is a really exciting week. We've got two really big shows releasing this week. The first show is Dreaming with Your Eyes Open with Ronnie Screwwala. This is a companion podcast to Ronnie's best-selling book, Dream with Your Eyes Open. On this podcast, Ronnie shares his vast entrepreneurial experience and takeaways from each chapter with me. New episodes will be out every Tuesday, and also don't forget to listen to the audiobook. The audiobook's available for free on our website and a whole bunch of other platforms. You'll find it wherever you look for it. The second show that we're really excited about is called The Note with famous journalist and news editor Maruk Inayat. She cuts the clutter and analyzes the stories that matter to you. Join her on the podcast where she gives you pure analysis on what's happening around you. This week, she has a 3-part exclusive series about the Indian elections. Speaking of the Indian elections, also check out the latest episodes of Thale Harate, Simblified, Ganatantra, The Seen and the Unseen, Election Soundtrack, and Cyrus Says His Cock and Bull for our thoughts on the elections. On The Seen and the Unseen, Amit Verma talks to David Bose, Executive VP of the Cato Institute, about being a libertarian in 2019 and how to deal with the resurgence of fascism and authoritarianism in politics. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam talks to Mohan Jayaraman, Regional Managing Director at Experian Asia Pacific, about credit scores and everything you need to know about them. On Geek Fruit, Tinker, Jishnu and Janam break down DC's latest entry into the DC universe, Shazam. On IVM Likes, the IVM staffers are joined by video producer Gauri Pandit to geek out over Game of Thrones. They talk at length about the final season, fan theories about the show's ending, whether the books will ever follow up, and a lot more. On Dating is Garbage, post an episode that discusses marriage, it's time to discuss live-in relationships. Kavya Bector joins the team to throw some light on arguments often raised against living in. And with that, let's get you on with your shows.
If you have any questions for Cyrus, write to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. EMA is back here. Chuck is joined by Ronnie, and Ronnie and Chuck are the team.
Ronnie and Chuck sounds like Bonnie and Clyde.
377. Yeah. You see criminal, I see lovers. Go on.
Wow, that took a unexpected left turn.
They were. Bonnie and Clyde were both. So hey, hello.
Let's hold hands.
Don't complain. Go up the system to the apex.
If you're interested in, since it's been Malayalam tutoring for you, Amma is Malayalam for tortoise.
Okay, and I'll tell you who's not a tortoise, the Paioli Express. So that's a paradox.
Wow.
P.T. Usha. Take that, bro. Don't teach me Malayalam. I'll teach you Malayalam.
Okay, done.
I have no idea what just happened right
I'm
now.
sitting and applying Bernal over here.
P.T. Usha is known as the Paioli Express. Paioli is where she comes from.
Okay.
But the reference went over his head because he's a kid. And he's never heard of her. But this is a problem with friggin' India. North Indian kids don't know Kapil Dev because we were born in the 90s. I don't know what to do. The Malu boy doesn't know P.T. Usha. What do you want me to do with my life?
Ask Raunak to start raceinfo.com.
Yes.
All right. Cyrus, why
You think that's a good idea?
No.
Kabaddi did well. Maybe race is the next way.
Raceinfo.com.
I think racism is doing pretty well.
Everything can be applied. Everything can be applied.
All right. Girish Patil asked the question. Cyrus, why can't you pronounce the surname of Virender Sehwag correctly?
Sehwag.
It's not that
So he almost got that wrong.
I am sure I got that wrong.
Sheh, na?
Yeah.
The Shah.
What?
Say.
Sehwag.
You don't say the Shah?
Why would you say sure?
Shehwag?
Is your name Shirish?
I am. Haven't you drunk with me? You're the one who calls me Cyrus.
Shaywog.
Yeah.
So
I'll just call him.
I think it depends on which country the commentators
This is Ronnie's fault because some of these commentators say names in a certain way, and the ones who say distinctly, like Chahal.
Yeah.
Chahal.
So Chahal himself is in Shaw's, but he once said, my name is Chahal. He was asked and he said Chahal.
Yeah. I heard he was named after an English king, Charles the First. That's what I want to take it further. Chuck, the guy with many names. This is laughing under duress now.
All right. This question's from Bikram. Cyrus, great podcast. It's just like listening to a group of friends jabbering in a room with a couple of drinks. Sometimes I start talking to myself.
Tang and Coke to be precise.
But Cyrus and Sehwag happened then. Yeah.
With a couple of drinks. Sometimes I start talking to myself as if I'm in the room. Why don't you try doing it with a live audience? It'll make for great TV.
For a second, he had us. Yeah. It was like a moment of lunacy. All three of us looked at each other. I start talking to myself.
Everyone at some point has spoken to themselves.
Complimentary.
But everyone at some point has spoken to themselves.
How do you think I make love?
Do you think we should leave, in that case, do you think we should leave spaces in, fill it in yourself? Like in some notebooks, you have a blank page, right? Fill in for notes.
Yeah.
So in Cyrus' podcast, we should actually leave like 10 seconds of space.
Baba
fill in with your own
Black
thoughts.
Dash.
Or alternately, Cyrus can become the next AI device. He could be an Alexa.
And I'm not far from that, as you've noticed me in the toilet.
All right.
But you don't answer the question.
Yes.
What was the question?
What was the question?
Can we have TV? Can we have members
live,
live
audience?
Can we do
Live.
live? So we will do live. We will do live.
We did one at Powai.
We did one at
It was
Powai.
too far away. We died after that.
We did Simblified. We did a live episode as well.
We did a live episode.
Oh, yeah.
Dulali.
Yeah, we did Dulali.
At
Oh,
Dulali.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And good audio and all that? No problem?
Audio was a little okay-ish. We could do better.
Yeah.
So, but
Content could have also been better.
Content
was good.
Content we'll upload later. Everything is right. Yeah.
Content was good.
But we could fit in about 20 people here in our studio. It's that level.
We have 11. 7 are staff who don't know what they're doing. There's Kunal sitting in the background playing with himself for some reason. quietness and solitude.
Everybody turned to see what Kulama was doing.
And I'm not impressed. Kahan pe hai?
Okay, this question is from Dinkar. Why do you stop every episode so abruptly? I would love to see some closure. Please say things like goodbye, see you soon in a few days, stay in school, go vote, don't do drugs, etc.
You know how Joe Root ended one day game when he scored 100 and beat India last season?
How?
And he throws the mic in that famous
mic drop
thing.
Yeah.
So we try to end it like that. So we go like, what's good?
Yeah, but the mics are expensive here.
So we don't have a mic. It's all pretend. It's like my career. It's all pretend.
You've got some wonderful viewers that are dealing with some very
listeners. You moron head boy from friggin' Jamnabai.
My line of work.
Where's the viewing?
My line of work, right?
You big shot. Click bloody info.
You got one guy who talks to himself, the other guy who's seeking closure.
and the anchor who can't say any name right. Whether it's Ernakulam or it's Virendra Sehwag. Yeah.
Okay, last question. Let's do it.
What do you call Malayali who can speak in 2 languages? Vernaculum. Sorry, I just thought of that. It's a stupid joke. Please carry on.
No, very good. Wait. It's the best thing in the show so far. Wait 2 minutes. Give us a long... I hate to use this phrase. Pregnant pause.
I am... Okay, so, dear Cyrus and team, I'm a total fan of the show and love to binge listen to some of the older episodes.
Here's another one.
Decline.
Here's another one.
Decline.
One such episode is a cock and bull with Amit and Vivek called episode 302, the Anup Jalota story. I think Cyrus is pretty much...
On Big Boss.
Yes, I think Cyrus is pretty much a cricket historian. I'd love to hear him talking to guests like Vivek on cricket history. You should pay attention to our Wednesday show called Lanso, called Left Arm Not So Orthodox.
What do you do these questions yourself so you can promote the other shows?
But dude, it's your show.
This is the Gujarati in you.
It's your show.
And now I'm wondering, everything is sort of manipulated in a nice way and boom, comes back to this.
Oh no, he actually does ask about Lanso. How about limited episodes, full-fledged podcast? Frankly, the shorter episodes, Lanso does little justice to Cyrus's passion towards cricket discussions. My question...
We need to have Ronnie back on
We will. We should have him on.
Cyrus can go on and on about cricket.
Because but you want real controversial commentary and all. This is the man.
So
because he doesn't hold back.
We should ask you to come. We should ask you to come on the Lanso.
I'm on for pre-2000 stats. I think after that I stopped
watching.
Pre-2000, I got me.
Then he lost faith in Indian cricket because of something that happened in 2000.
He's a show off. Diana Idalji, what are her test figures?
Sorry?
Diana Idalji's test figures.
What are Diana's figures?
Figures.
5 for 62?
5 for 62. You threw it out there, didn't you? You just made that face.
Yeah,
I'm from Kerala. I can't get figures wrong, boss. This is a stereotype I will not accept.
That's a flat number at Khusro-Bagh.
Khusro-Bagh ne? What is the bog? Where are you from, bro? Don't make fun of Broacha anymore.
So his question basically was asking you, can you recommend some books?
Running books.
On what?
Rightly Face the Dawn. Jack Fingleton, who didn't like Don Bradman.
Okay.
We want to go back to the kinds of books that I read.
Cricket?
But I read all. You read all. You like bios?
I
read everything. Adam Gilchrist, Sandy Storm. I can't anything. Chappelli.
The best book in cricket that I have read is something called Pandits from Pakistan.
Shashi Tharoor.
No, by Rahul Bhattacharya. It's actually the best book you'll read. Yeah.
The
ESPN guy?
It's about
the
Rahul
from ESPN.
It's about the one when India went to Pakistan.
The rekindling
when
of...
Sehwag hit the 300. Yeah.
When another party was in power.
Yeah.
I loved The Corner of a Foreign Field.
Corner of
The history of India told through cricket. I thought that was pretty cool.
Again, unsung hero and nothing's changed.
I can also tell you the worst book that's ever written in cricket.
Tell me.
It's Tendulkar's book.
I have to agree.
By Boria Majumdar.
Vinod and I.
The worst book that I've ever read on cricket, and I'm ashamed to say that I've actually read this, is the Zoya Factor.
Mm-hmm. On Zoya Akhtar?
The Zoya
on Zola
Factor.
Bird?
No. It was good. It was a novel that was based on the Indian cricket team and companion. Let's call her a companion.
This is like Lassie Come Home or something. There's a connection, man.
Anuja Chauhan.
Anuja Chauhan, the Pepsi girl who gave us Mera Number.
Correct.
She's a genius. Yeah. Personal friend. Gali mat dena, take it back, na. Be nice. But coming back to Boria. You didn't like Boria's book on Sachin?
Boria?
No, I don't.
Boria, what are you talking
I don't know, I haven't read it, so I'm asking you.
You heard Boria, no?
I have.
If Arnab writes a book tomorrow, you'll read it.
I will. Forward by General Bakshi and Vistara. Joint statement.
No, I wouldn't be recommending. If you just want a result of what's in that book, just go through the scorecards of Tendulkar's games.
I'll tell you, one of the books that I read in the last couple of years was War's biography, Steve Waugh, Out of My Comfort Zone, which I thought was very well written. Yeah. And explained one thing which we don't talk about enough, which is 15 men cannot get along anywhere in the world.
Correct.
Why are we worried about 15 cricketers or footballers not getting along? Of course they won't get along. 15 men cannot get along and be great friends. Yeah. Now back in Cricinfo, we work together, Raunak and I.
Yeah, we're sick.
Yeah, because I'm the more like, let's wear less clothes and work, and he's the like, let's have a suit on kind of thing. It's huge issues. Huge issues. I think we've had an abrupt end of the show, guys.
Yeah, let's give him some closure. Don't do drugs.
Shea Wag. Everybody, Shea Wag. Shea Wag.
Shea Wag?
Shea Wag from Kushrabog. It's my new book. Read it.
Head boys.
Okay, folks, great news for me, not so much for you. We're going thrice a week. We're not repeating shows. We're going on thrice a week, 2 regular shows and a new one, the birth of a new one called Land So, Left Arm Not So Orthodox. It's talking cricket. 2 great minds talking cricket. One who has never played the game and the other, well, relatively less inexperienced. The one and only, what's my name? Cyrus Broacha. Land So. New episodes every Wednesday. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Look! Up in the internet! It's a meme! No! It's a cat video! No! It's the Geek Fruit Podcast!
That's right, we interrupt this riveting broadcast to tell you about our show, The Geek Fruit Podcast, where Tejas, Dinkar and I, Jishnu, talk about everything in pop culture, including DC, Marvel, Star Wars, Netflix, and everything in between.
You know how your friends hate it when you ramble about some nerdy crap and you just want somebody to listen to you? Well, sorry, there's nothing we can do about that, but come listen to us ramble and it'll almost be like the real thing. Kind of.
Listen to new episodes of the Geek Fruit Podcast every Monday and the Geek Fruit Bulletin every Thursday on iTunes, Google Podcasts, the IVM app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Happy listening, you nerds.
Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta. I'm B50 on Twitter. I am the host of Paisa Vaisa, the show that talks money. On my show, I speak to experts from every field of money and finance, from stock markets, equities, debt funds, credit cards, life insurance, every possible area of money and finance that you can think of. We even did an episode on cryptocurrency. I've got fantastic guests from mutual funds to personal finance experts everywhere. Robo-advisory, startups, just name it, we've got it. At Paisa Vaisa, we help you make smart decisions about money. You work hard for money. Now make your money work hard for you. New episodes out every Monday, and you can listen to my show on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you have. Paisa Vaisa is brought to you by Paytm Money.